Welcome to the Art of Skill podcast, episode 3. I'm your host, Rick Ellis. Today's guest is Vlad Koulikov. Vlad holds the rank of black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, black belt in Judo, and master of sport in Russian Sambo. Vlad is an accomplished competitor and a highly respected instructor due to his unique fusion of Jiu Jitsu, Sambo, and Judo. Stay tuned. The Art of Skill podcast is brought to you by Element Electrolyte Drink Mix. If you're an athlete, you need to be paying attention to your electrolytes for optimum health, performance, and recovery. Element comes in a variety of great flavors. Each packet contains sodium, potassium, magnesium, and no sugar or artificial junk. Just add a packet of Element to your water bottle and you're good to go. We have an exclusive offer for fans of the Art of Skill podcast. Get a sample pack mailed to you for the price of shipping. For more information, visit drinkelement.com/theartofskill. That's drinklmnt.com/theartofskill. Stay salty, my friends. Vlad Koulikov, it's good to see you, my friend.
Likewise, Rick. Likewise.
We are at Grapplers Retreat in Mendocino, California, spending the week together. And I've seen a lot of clips from you on YouTube. I've been aware of you for a long time. But what impressed me most training with you is the sheer depth of knowledge that you have. It's scary. How much...
You're too kind, but thank you.
No, it's true. It's true. You have follow-up after follow-up after follow-up and beautiful control positions. So it's been a real pleasure to train with you this week.
It's been a pleasure to train with you too, and thank you again.
So tell me about your experience here at Grapplers Retreat.
So I met Alex, the director, I guess, right? The host. Alex. I met Alex at the seminar. I was doing a seminar at Georgian Grip for a friend of his in Oregon. Met him then. And 2015. Then 2016, I met him yet again in San Francisco, giving a seminar for Denny Prokopos, one of Eddie Bravo black belts. Alex came, and we hit it off before, but even more so next year, which was 2016. Mike was with me, actually. Mike said, "Can I come with you? I don't have to teach, and I buy my own tickets." And of course, because Mike and I. We have very, very symbiotic relationship, and that's when we became close friends with Alex. And he asked me if I want to come to his place to teach, which was not Grapplers Retreat back then. It was just the dojo, the highest on affiliation, Mendocino. So I did that twice, and absolutely fell in love with the place. And then Alex reached out and pitched me the idea of Grapplers Retreat, saying if you don't want it, I'm like, I want it. That sounds fantastic. So first Grapplers Retreat was last year, actually, and it completely blew my mind, completely overran any expectations I had in a good way. I fell in love with the place first time around, and every time I'm here, it never ceases to amaze me and blow my mind. Right? I live in a rural area myself. I live in Hudson Valley. But there's just something about this everlast and a shore, and mind you, that's not like a Malibu beach. It's a different type of beach, but there's something very drawing. I feel very primal, very relaxed. And at last Grapplers Quest, we immediately made friends with everybody. Cohesion in a group was imminent and very strong. We had fantastic time. So when Alex asked me to do it again, I almost did not want new people to come, because I felt so strongly attached to other group. But of course I knew better, right? Yeah. And what happens, long and behold, next time I'm here, same thing happens. I love all these people. So I'm having beyond positive experience, outrageous. And believe it or not, as much, I love teaching, I have passion to teach. And I love it when I do aha experience with a black belt. Yeah. But when I do it to a white belt, it's life changing. With a black belt, it's just minor adjustment. Right. Yeah, and it's as pleasant as it is. it could not be compared to a life-altering experience of a white belt, because you blow their goddamn minds, you know, with that stuff. So and we have a fair representation here. We have like a black belts like yourself, you know, and then we have different people, and it does not matter. We all learn from each other. So as much as people learn from me, I hope I learn from them, you know.
I have to say, for me, it's been fantastic to just be a student.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I teach every night, and your mind is always in that mode, and you're not really assimilating new things as much because you're just transmitting.
Yeah, I can relate to you, right? As an instructor, you know, my purpose is to serve people, is to serve my students, right? Yeah. So the only times I get to work out in a regular practice is to warm up and maybe roll. But when it's time to drill, my whole attention is on my students. Yeah. So like I understand, anytime I get to train with Mike and be a student at his class, like I love it. I cherish that experience, and I try to find time to drill just to be a student again. You know. Yeah. So like I 100% understand where you're going with it.
So tell me a little bit about your story, because you have a very strong background in Sambo, you have a very strong background in Judo, and now Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, of course.
Yeah. So my most like not legit, like most serious pedigree, I would say, still, you know, in Sambo. Although I've been doing Jujutsu like for almost longer than Sambo at this point. I started in 1984. I was fortunate enough to live literally 2 blocks away from the most prestigious Sambo academy in the world, you know.
This in Russia?
Yes, in Moscow, Russia. Moscow. Yeah. That's where I trained, achieved some results. I won 2 all-Soviet Cups as a junior. When I was younger, I only competed in Sambo. There was no cross training, right? Yeah. I only did Sambo for like about 5 to 6 years. But even when I only did Sambo and only competed in a rule set, I was always in my head and heart like eclectic fusion grappler, right? Yeah. I would research like Greco-Roman, freestyle, Jiu-Jitsu, right? And I was always fascinated with not just martial arts, but like grappling in particular as an umbrella term, right? So when I came to United States, I was, and I still live in like a rural area. There was not many places to train, and they didn't even have a wrestling program in town of Warwick. That's where I live, right? So there was nowhere to train, and somebody opened free a grappling club. Right? This gentleman named Gino Mangelli. He lived in Brazil, right? So his parents were diplomats. I forgot what they were, but like for whatever reason, professional reason, they resided in Brazil. And he trained, Gino it is, he trained with Marco Ruas, you know?
Yeah. King of the streets.
King of the streets, Marco Ruas.
Arguably, he might be the first true mixed martial artist.
Yeah, I totally agree. And so Gino introduced me to, because what I knew back then was just Olympic stuff, you know, judo, freestyle, Greco, and Sambo. And he opened my eyes to luta libre, catch wrestling, Shuto, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and he just blew my mind. And Gino was encyclopedia of knowledge. Like he taught me actually a lot. He was not a good competitor, because anytime we roll, like my pedigree will, full modesty aside, will overshine his, you know, and I'll beat him with the basic, you know, basic stuff or whatever. But I still loved learning from him, and I still to this day credit him with opening my eyes. And in '99, I entered my first grappling tournament, and I went to, it was Grappler's Quest. I went to advanced division right away, and I should not be in advanced division, but I was lucky enough to win it, you know. It was a Nogi tournament. I submitted everybody, and I received the most technical fighter award. But after that, people got keen on my game. It was a very simple game, right? And I did not train Jiu-Jitsu. People started to decipher me and figure my stuff out, and it took me about between 3 to 5 years to reinvent myself. And I would watch a lot of film, you know, I would compete a lot, you know, I would experiment a lot. But anytime I tried to like jump in somebody's camp, I would not be met with open arms, so to speak, right? People were polite, so like fundamentals of Jiu-Jitsu were eluding me, you know. It's much easier when you have a coach and he tells you what to do, but now without any knowledge, I have to figure stuff out for myself, you know. And I still did pretty well. I did well in like grappler squares and nagas, after I reinvented myself. And after I met Mike Palladino in 2012, that's when my proper jiu-jitsu journey began, because he introduced me to his coach, Rafael Formiga, multiple mundial champion.
Yeah.
And that is when I realized how much I have to learn. Particularly more so stuff with the gi, and particularly more so two skills, passing and sweeping. Because like my takedown game from Sambo is fairly decent. I was able to decipher no-gi wrestling, adapting my Sambo and Judo to no-gi. But passing and sweeping are very particular skills, and you have to be like in a proper room, to learn it. And there was nobody around me to teach me, So that's when my jiu-jitsu journey started, so to speak, and I earned my black belt after under Formiga, and opened my gym again, Sambo Jiu-Jitsu Fusion. I mean, gym is called Koulikov Garden Academy, but what I teach, and it's not exclusively Sambo and Jiu-Jitsu. There's other arts too, but those are two major contributing to my fusion style.
So the first time I heard of Sambo was Fedor Emelianenko in Pride in the early days, and I had no idea what it's a funny sounding term in English. What is this, Sambo?
Okay. So yeah, Sambo is an abbreviation. It's SAM stands for Samooborona or Samozащита. I tend to say it means the same. It's self-defense or self-protection. I tend to say Samooborona because Samozащита sounds like some of the shit, B is без, without, and O, оружие. So it's self-defense without weapons. Style was born as a military style, right?
And it's a hybrid style.
Yeah,
Explain for those that might not be too familiar with it.
Yeah, so Sambo, official birthday of Sambo is November 16th, 1938. That's when the sport was recognized, and it was not called Sambo back then. It will coin the term Sambo, or the word Sambo, a couple years later. And it's actually an amalgam of Judo and Jujutsu. Right? One of the founders was Vasily Oshchepkov. He was first Russian black belt, directly under Jigoro Kano. He lived in Far East, Sakhalin Island, and actually that became a source of his demise. Eventually he was arrested as a Japanese spy and either died. I think he died from pneumonia in 1937, infamous purges. Then it was Spiridonov, and then was Harlampiev, who kind of finalized and systemized the work of the first two. So the contributor, a lot of people say Sambo is Russian Judo. It's not entirely true. It is true, but it's not. Right? Sambo is way more than a Russian.
It has
Judo.
a wrestling influence as well.
Yes. I mean, for lay people, I would say it's a mix of Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling, or Judo and wrestling, or whatever. But it's way more than that. So, Soviet Union.
And it always had strong leg lock game.
Yes.
And it didn't have a guard. Is that correct?
Well, you can. So, yes and no. There is no such position. Some people do play off their backs. Right. But it's very brief and very fast. There is no refined techniques from guard. So you always have to see what the foundation of the art is. In Jiu-Jitsu, somewhere they agreed fight will go to the ground and it will land on the ground. And in Sambo, they agreed like the best way is to do a quick submission or quick throw. So it's up to you to decide which school of thought fits your personal beliefs, and then you go here or you go there. In me, I see validity in both. I have the curse when reason makes sense to me, and so I see how submission can end the match, and I see how quick throw, dropping somebody on their head also can,
Does Sambo have, so in Judo there's an aggression that you don't find in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's very laid back, you take more time.
Yes.
Whereas Judo, it's about the entry and getting the throw. Is Sambo
same thing. Sambo is like wrestling with the jacket. You get penalized for stepping out of the mat. You get penalized if you're not aggressive enough. If you don't bring because Olympic motto is bigger, faster, or stronger, right, or something like that. So you enter combat thinking you bigger, faster, stronger, or higher, right? I'm trying to remember the Latin name and it's eluding me. My apologies. Where in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, by default or by definition, as per Ilya Gracie, you automatically presume that you are weaker and smaller. So therefore, you exercise patience, frames, or whatever, and in the right time, you apply some kind of leverage technique and snatch it. That's not making of Olympics, because that's why Jiu-Jitsu will never be an Olympic sport.
It's just a tough spectator sport.
But there's many other reasons. I mean, the main reason it contradicts the motto, the credo of Olympics. Then BJJF, the most serious jiu-jitsu organization, is for profit opposed to non-profit for any other grappling sport. And match is 10 minutes, and it's very it's a sport for educated fans, you know, where like you watch wrestling, the blue singlet just tossed the red singlet, you know, and I get it. I don't know much about combat sports, but I saw the double leg and there's a spike, you know what I'm saying? Where in jiu-jitsu, adjustments are minimal, and sometimes it's what I call battle for Stalingrad, you know, like inch by inch, you know what I'm saying? I'll take an inch, but then he'll take that inch back, and then I'll take it back. And it's micro adjustments, sorry to use that word, I know it's infamous and comical. So yeah, it's not spectator-friendly sport.
Is there a meaningful difference, do you think, still in Sambo versus Jiu-Jitsu today? Because Jiu-Jitsu is really embracing the leg lock game.
Yes.
Wrestling is becoming mandatory in Jiu-Jitsu, more so than Judo. Judo is practiced in the gi, but not quite.
No, it's getting there. It's so funny because like a long time ago, before the leg lock craze, like I was asked, what's the next spiral in Jiu-Jitsu evolution? And I said, I think it's leg locks, right? And so critique for leg locks were a couple critiques, right? So number one, if you fall down for Achilles, you lose position. But majority of leg lock setups are down from the bottom, so here goes this critique. Then people say that they're not as effective. No, they effective, all right? So that critique goes out the window too.
Yeah.
So and the next, the next spiral.
Well, I think those critiques were based on the fact that those people didn't know how to control the legs as a position, play it as a position.
I always call it leg pin.
Yeah.
For example, you want to do Americano, you have to take somebody down or sweep them right past their guard, secure the position. There's a bunch of precursors. Same thing with leg locks. People will like dive happy, like meaning diving on leg lock or heel hook and wrenching it. And it was good back in '96, circa Marco Huas, you know. But you have to pin the leg. So in other words, if you exercise control through every step of execution, you can pick and choose what leg lock you want to do. So you treat like a leg entanglement the same way you treat side control or back mount control first, fighting, and then strangling or arm lock. Same thing with leg locks. So yeah, that's a big thing. And now takedowns are hopping into next spiral of evolution. So yeah, man. So main difference right now, I guess, is rule set. You know.
Yeah.
And the more jiu-jitsu goes in the territory of leg locks and takedowns, the more Sambo could be infused in jiu-jitsu. There are some bad habits in Sambo, like I say it 100%, and I'm not saying it's the end all, but I still think it's a great base for an athlete. You know, to me, it was, you know, and I think Sambo has a lot to offer for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. So hybrid or fusion, your view of martial arts, how do you assemble all that into a cohesive system? Do you have a way that you do that, or you just find things that you like, or how do you?
No, a little bit of both. You know, like after doing, and again, false modesty aside, I'm 46 at the moment, and I was lucky enough to start training when I was 8. So I've been on the mat for almost 40 years, right? So it's not even that I'm good per se. I just luckily I had good habits. My athletic longevity is there. So I had a lot of time to assemble a lot of information. I had a lot of time to systemize it, and I'm like completely OCD, and it fits well into my organizational and systemization skill, you know. And after seeing the philosophies and approaches, you can tell what Sambo is lacking or missing, and you can tell what Jiu-Jitsu is missing and lacking. And oddly enough, they interchangeable. Like what Sambo misses is some of Jiu-Jitsu stuff. Yeah. Yes, and what Jiu-Jitsu missing, Sambo has. So and for a lot of people, some Sambis would not even play with Jiu-Jitsu, and some of it because they don't want to, and some of it because they like look down. And conversely, the other way is true for Jiu-Jitsu. Some people do pure Jiu-Jitsu think is the best thing ever since sliced bread, and they never want to deviate, which is fine. Like I don't care if you find Jiu-Jitsu is enough for you. God bless you. This is awesome, you know. And some people would never learn anything other than a rule set of Jiu-Jitsu, which is completely fine. It just I'm not that guy. Yeah. I do not like only Jiu-Jitsu. I do not like only freestyle wrestling. I do not like only Sambo. I love wrestling. Let's call it wrestling or grappling. Non-percussive martial arts. I love percussive martial arts too.
Yeah, well, these are they're just branches of the tree. Jiu-Jitsu, whatever the base
but
art.
Some people like to sit on one branch, and I just like to climb the whole damn tree.
Yeah. So I had an epiphany when I opened my academy. On gi nights, I would teach judo throws. On no gi nights, I would teach wrestling style takedowns. And then after about a year, I started thinking, I wonder if I can just merge these things and throw out the things that aren't necessarily applicable to no-gi and sort of. And so that kind of got me thinking, and I assume you had that epiphany at some point, probably years and years, decades before I did.
Some fundamentals like footwork, level change, grip, goes across the border, but presence of gi truly changes gripping paradigm.
Yeah.
Yes. So I love and admire Coach Matt Lindland.
Yeah.
And he said he was teaching clinic, and a fantastic clinic. It was more so like a philosophical clinic, sort of like a clinic of principles. And he said wrestling is wrestling whether you wear a jacket or not. And I wholeheartedly disagree with that. Wholeheartedly. Like I would wrestle without the jacket, completely different how I would wrestle with the jacket. Some techniques are the same.
Is it the distancing and the control?
Yeah, the control. The stances, the control is so weird. Like for example, judo people, once you take the gi off, right, they tend to stand with a right leg forward, trying to grab the head, which is like the worst goddamn thing ever, right? But it's ingrained because you grab the gi.
Yes.
And if you grab the collar, it's way harder to duck under or strip that grip, opposed to if I'm just grabbing your neck, So there is a super distinct difference in a gripping paradigm and sometimes footwork too, depending on whether you wear a gi or no gi. Of course, I can do single leg in a gi or no gi, or I can do suplex or hip toss, but how I get there is like two different ways.
Yeah, that's my bad habit.
Yes.
That lead leg collar tie, and watching you guys train this week, I've tried to switch. Even just maybe I'll just go left. If I like this collar tie, I'll go left leg forward, and it just feels weird. I'm going to have to reimagine how this works.
Yes. Listen, it took me forever. Once I took my kimono, my jacket off, and my kurtka, that's what we call the gi, right? I could not wrestle, man. I would apply takedown here and takedown there on somebody who was not very good. But it took me some time to decipher that paradigm, gi versus no gi, adapt my stance, footwork, and all that stuff. And now, not that I'm good in no gi, I'm much better wrestler with the jacket on, but I feel very secure and very confident in no gi as well.
Yeah.
Like, I know what I'm doing. Maybe I don't do it very well, but I know what I'm doing.
So you mentioned your OCD. I'm OCD.
Yeah.
And there's a tendency with those of us that are OCD you get really into something, but then you burn out and you move on to the next thing.
Yes.
And jiu-jitsu for me is one of the few things that has kept me interested, whereas other things, the minute you feel like you're starting to master it, you move on.
Oh, absolutely, man. Like I go through, it's so funny. I remember the stuff I used to do 15 years ago, like over and over with success across all different levels. I would do it through white belts, blue belts, and brown belts and black belts. And then you get bored maybe, or so the evolution in the gym starts like this. You get on a game, let's say Kimura or Darce or whatever, and you tap everybody because you have deliberate practice. You study film, right? You study people who do it the best, and then you put your reps and what ifs, and you develop system, and you get good, man, right? If you train, you will goddamn get good. There's no, But then people started to get kin on your Darce. Then you switch to something else, and to something else, and so forth and so on. So it's funny, like my meta game right now is slightly different from what it was 15 years ago. So I totally understand what you're talking about. I can go back to the same old tricks, You forget.
What's funny is you forget your old tricks sometimes, and then you rediscover them. Sometimes you rediscover them much later. And you're like, oh.
And then you're in different place in your life, and you're a little bit more wiser and more experienced, and sometimes you come across something that's much better. Like for example, when I learned Von Flu choke, I call it flu shot, kudos to Eddie Bravo. Even before Eddie Bravo, I was always standing, I had a tendency to shorten the names and give them like code names, Don't put your right arm under I just say like name. So it's a flu shot. Von Flu strangle is a flu shot, right? So I saw it for the first time, and I had to rewind the VHS tape, and I saw what he did, and I tried to replicate. And over the course of the years, I changed the way I teach it. you know, because nobody taught me. I had to decipher by myself, and I did it how it made sense to me. And then I realized there's a bunch of counters, so I will adopt and I will adjust my technique, and then I'll see another counter, and then detail, so you have a skeleton, and the meat and muscles grow, and the skin and hair and eyes or whatever. Yeah. And so my Van Flu is a whole grown human right now. Like it has so many layers and little details that I discovered during my research and development of that game, you know?
Yeah. So Vlad, what do you think is the hardest thing to learn as a new student in the grappling arts?
Humility.
Really?
Yeah, man. It's yeah. We all have egos, some more than others, you know. And
that ego has to keep getting destroyed.
Yes.
It's not a one-time thing.
No. Yeah. Listen, not that I'm humble or whatever. Like I know what I'm worth, and I also know I can get my ass handed any day or whatever. So humble pie is always on the menu. Not that I want it. So believe it or not, that was the hardest thing, man.
Really?
Yeah. I had a student. I still have this student. He's a blue belt now. When we started, he was a complete beginner, and as we roll, he's a white belt. And I'm going easy, but because he's such a gosh darn beginner, I'm just rolling him up without trying. And I see he's getting pissed, not angry. He's getting visibly angry and stupid and like physical. And I did not go apeshit on him. I maintained my calm, because I never like to act when I'm angered. I usually try to think, and I don't want to lose a student. So I reached out to him. I'm like, Josh, like, number one, what the hell did you expect going with a black belt, you know? Number two, your ego is going to be the biggest preventer of your martial arts journey. Like, relax. It's a practice. Of course, you have to have some kind of ego if you want to be a competitor, right? But you have to, like, put that puppy to sleep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the mats are, I always say that the mats are truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Mats don't lie.
They don't lie.
I can tell you I'm a world champion, but like, you know, once we go on the mat, you'll know what I am, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, mats don't lie.
And it's so easy in the real world out there to build up this false sense of who you are, this false narrative. Mm-hmm. A lot of people lie to themselves. Being truthful with yourselves can be painful. And I agree. There's something about that environment in jiu-jitsu.
You know, General Schwarzkopf said, like, we all know what the right thing is. It's just like some of us don't do it, or something like that. It's not a precise quote. So, like, I can lie to people, you know, but I can never lie to myself. Like, I know. And if you're not a complete douchebag, pardon my French, like you know, like you don't lie to yourself. So, and a second problem with jiu-jitsu to overcome, very closely related to ego problem, is people quit when they are nails, you know. They quit in a period when they're nails, because once you like humble enough and understand that it's a part of a procedure. I always say that the training process implies certain degree of failure.
Yeah.
It's like a zebra, black stripe, white stripe. So once you overcome that ego thing and you accept that you, for the most part, you are a nail, eventually you become the hammer, you know. Like it's unfortunate truth about combat sports.
And you know, for those older athletes who are starting the grappling journey, that's even tougher, because you don't have the technical skills, you don't have the physical skills.
Whenever older, you know, people join my gym, I don't have them rolled, you know. I teach the most fundamental things, and when the whole practice goes to roll, somebody has to do charity. And Josh will do charity to Jimmy, because Josh was getting done charity done to him too. And what charity means, as opposed to rolling and competing, you just like slow shit down and you explain the very simplest thing, like what is objective of submission grappling. It's to pass guard, secure top control, you know, and then maybe you show him rear naked, choke or guillotine, or whatever the case might be. So my beginners don't roll for quite some time. They be in charity, you know. Yeah.
So what do you want your legacy to be? You're pretty well known.
Oh, my legacy, like so yeah, you know, they say man is never truly dead for as long as his name remembered. I want to be remembered as a good person, as a kind person, giving person, father and husband first. And if people can remember my humble teachings and remember me with a good word in regards to something I taught them, that's even better. So like just being jiu-jitsu is like only you know, it's very important this much of my life, you know, but it's still this much of my life. And I'm sorry, it's like a trivial beat up truths, but I want to be just a good person. I want to be inspirational, right? I would never change you by telling you to change. Like, I want you to change because hopefully my humble example is exemplary. Like my work ethics, my training, my longevity, my whatever. Like if I can impart it to you, and if you can remember me by that, then that's my legacy. That's what I want.
So what is one thing that people might be surprised to learn about you?
I don't really know, man. Like, I don't know. Movie buff, I guess. Like, my head is full of this useless bullshit trivia about music and movies, you know? Yeah, and whenever I listen to music and movies, like I don't just take it for face value. I always try to go deeper into what's between the lines, what's my emotional connection, why am I drawn to this picture or to this music, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
So where can people find you? What's your...
Thank you for asking, guys. My website is sambofusion.com. You can find me there. I have Instagram account, sambo_fusion, and it's pretty cool account. Like I post, I think, videos, you know, instructional videos and some cool martial arts clips. I don't post any dumb stuff, you know, no selfies, no food there, you know, just like for martial artists. And you can find my personal Facebook page, Vlad Koulikov, or Koulikov Grappling Academy on Facebook. And if you don't mind, I'd like to push my product.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have an online library. It's $20 a month. You can hop off anytime. It's a subscription-based service. And what I have there, I have a suggested curriculum. I say suggested in quotation because for some people, my curriculum could be overwhelming, and for other athletes, it could be not enough. So like if you're a complete beginner grappler and there's so much good information, I mean there's so much bad information as well, right? But there's a lot of good info for free. And sometimes you don't know how to navigate and where to start. So I'm giving you skills based on your time and rank. So there's like a certain techniques for white belt, blue, purple, and brown. And I teach throws and takedowns, passing guard, sweeps on guard, strangling, arm locks, leg locks. So 6 skills, and they go from simplest to more complex as the belt advances. Over and above that, I to justify subscription, I post technique every week. Technique of the week it's called. Sometimes my technique of the week is actually a series of techniques, like 12 ways to finish single leg takedown. So it's a themed lesson opposed to singular technique. I record courses, for example, Tomo Inagi course, Sumigaeshi, Sasai Turikomeashi, foot sweep, Teguruma. Like I get a technique and I get a multitude of ways of executing it, you know. So I'm doing courses, and my subscribers get all those courses too. So guys, if you want to check it out, like I said, you can hop off anytime. Go on sambofusion.com, go into menu, purchase our curriculum, sign up the terms of and conditions, you know. So you basically don't steal my stuff. And enjoy the learning. Yeah,
I'm sure it's phenomenal because just training with you this week.
A lot of thought was put into it, you know, like false modesty aside, I'm very proud of the product.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Vlad. It's been an absolute joy to train with you this week. And we will be friends for a long time. And I look forward to continuing to train
guys,
with you.
Check out Rick's channel. So a quick little funny story, and I'll be done, I promise. I see Rick, right? I meet Rick here at Grappler's Retreat, and I'm racking my brain because I know that face, you know, like I'm not totally old yet, so I have pretty good memory, but I cannot remember where I saw that gentleman. Eventually, he posted a great video, which is like a great, very intriguing and very close to heart topic. He posted a video on old school BJJ versus new school BJJ. Very thought-provoking, and sometimes, guys, like you might have preconceived notion of what it might be, but you might be surprised. There's a couple twists in there. Great video. His channel is called Skill of Art, Art of Skill. So check it out.
So do you consider yourself a new school player? I mean, you've been doing this a long time. You're just constantly evolving.
Yes. My fundamentals of old school, like ultimately, I'm a thrower and a top guy or whatever, right? I clinch, I throw, and I stand up. But dude, I can berimbolo, you know, I can do stuff. I can invert, and again, maybe even if you don't believe in it, even if you don't believe in inversion and new school or whatever, you cannot deny the effectiveness, because it happens in competition against people that awesome and they don't want to be leg locked, and it still happens. So you're stupid if you don't want to get better, or at least invite somebody who's better than you to a seminar to serve your students, guys.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Yes. Stay on top, man.
Keep evolving. Keep moving.
Evolving. Yes. Keep evolving.
Well, thank you, Vlad. Appreciate it,
My
man.
pleasure.
Again, really,
My pleasure,
really
sir.
great.
Yes.
All right.
Out of skill.